Hello students, welcome to this lecture on the course Principles of Political Science. Today's lecture on interdisciplinary approach, political science and sociology. In our previous class, lecture 6, we explored the interdisciplinary relationship between political science and history. We learned how historical events shape political institutions and how political concepts help us interpret the past more meaningfully. Now we extend that understanding and explore another equally important interdisciplinary connection between political science and sociology. Sociology is the academic study of society, social groups and social institutions and human relationships. When these two disciplines come together, a rich and productive dialogue emerges. Politics does not happen in vacuum. It takes place within a society, amongst the people, with distinct social identities, group loyalties, and structural inequalities. Understanding this social dimension of politics is the central purpose of today's lecture. Our agenda is as follows. We'll begin with the meaning and scope of sociology as a discipline. We will then examine how political science and sociology relate to and support each other. We'll study key concepts linking both like power, authority, legitimacy, and social stratification. We will look at important Indian examples, including caste and politics, the role of religion in elections and voting behavior. We'll compare the two disciplines and assess the limitations of their independence. Before we examine the relationship between political science and sociology, let us understand what sociology means as an academic discipline. The term sociology was coined by the French thinker Auguste Comte in the 19th century. He combined the Latin word socius, meaning companion or society, with the Greek word logos, meaning study or knowledge. Together, sociology literally means the study of society. Sociology is broadly defined as the scientific study of human society, social relationships, social institutions, and the processes by which society is organized and maintained. It looks at how individuals interact with groups, how groups form institutions, and how these institutions shape human behavior and experiences over time. Sociology covers a wide range of social phenomena. These include the family as a social unit, social class and economic inequality, education and its social role, religion as a social force, crime and deviance, urbanization, migration, and the role of culture in shaping behavior. It also studies social change, how societies transform, how do they evolve, how do they transform from one type to another. For students of political science, sociology is especially important because it draws attention to the social forces that shape political behavior. Caste, class, gender, religion, ethnicity, all social categories studied by sociology shape political loyalty and electoral choices across India. Sociology is not limited to the definition introduced by Auguste Comte. Subsequent thinkers have enriched our understanding of the subject considerably. Emile Durkheim, one of the founders of modern sociology, emphasized the importance of social facts, external forces that shape individual behavior independently of personal will. Max Weber focused on the meaning individuals attach to social criteria, social action, and introduced the concepts of ideal types to understand social phenomena comparatively. Karl Marx placed economic class at the center of social analysis and argued that these conflicts drives historical and social changes. In India, sociology as an academic discipline began developing in the early 20th century. Scholars like G.S. Guri, M.N. Srinivas, and Andre Vattel made a pioneering contribution to Indian sociology. by studying caste, kinship, and social stratification in the Indian context. M. N. Srinivasan introduced the concept of Sanskritization to explain how lower caste adopts the customs of upper classes to rise in the social hierarchy. These intellectual traditions show that sociology is a rich and diverse field with multiple theoretical perspectives. What unites them is a shared focus on society, on how social structures are formed, sustained, and transformed. This social focus is precisely what makes sociology an invaluable partner for political science, which focuses on the political dimensions of the same social reality. Having understood the meaning and scope of sociology, we can now explore one of the most fundamental observations, the concept of political science. Politics exists within society. This seemingly simple statement has profound implications for how we study political phenomena. Political institutions, parliaments, governments, courts, political parties, bureaucracies do not exist apart from society. They are created by human beings who live in a specific social context. The behavior of voters, the decisions of politicians, the formation of political parties, and the workings of public policy are all shaped up by the social conditions in which they occur. Consider elections in India. When Indian citizens go to vote, they do not make choices in a purely rational, informed, information-based way. Their voting decisions are deeply influenced by their caste identity, religious identity, language, regional loyalty, class position, and gender. All of these are social categories studied by sociology. Without sociology, political science would understand only the formal side of the election. Who wins? How many votes were cast? What the rules are? With sociology, it can understand why people vote the way they do, which is far more important for understanding democratic politics. The insight that politics is embedded in social context is the fundamental starting point of the political science sociology interdisciplinary relationship. Building on the idea that politics exists within society, we can now examine how social structures directly influence political systems. Social structures are the organized patterns of relationship and institutions that give order to a society. These include the class system, the caste system, gender relations, religious communities, and ethnic groups. Each of these structures have direct impact on how political power is distributed and exercised. In societies with deep social inequality, where some groups have historically enjoyed privileges and while others have faced discrimination, political system tends to reflect and reinforce these inequalities. Unless actively, counteracted, the Indian political system for example, inherited the social reality of caste hierarchy. The framers of the Indian Constitution recognized this and introduced reservations for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, also banned caste-based discrimination as constitutionally illegal, also constitutionally prohibited practices like untouchability. And government services, the reservation in government services are considered as affirmative actions or corrective measures. This direct example of how social structures shaped a major political decision. Social structures also determine who participates in politics. In many societies, women have historically been excluded from political participation because of gender norms that define the public sphere as male. The demand for women's political representation, including the Constitution 106th Amendment Act of 2023, reserving one-third seats for women in parliament, reflects how social structures directly shape political access and legislative reforms. One of the most important contribution of sociology to political science is in helping us understand social groups and their political significance. A social group is a collection of people who share certain characteristics, interact with each other, and have a sense of shared identity. In India and in most societies, social groups based on caste, class, religion, gender, tribe, and language play a crucial role in shaping political behavior. Caste is perhaps the most distinctive social group in the Indian context. The Indian caste system is hierarchical social arrangement that has historically determined persons' occupation, social status, and access to resources. Uh, B.R. Ambedkar, the principal architect of the Indian Constitution, described caste as a system of graded inequality. Sociologists have documented how caste shape social identity, and political scientists have shown how caste identity translates into political loyalty and voting behavior. Social class, defined broadly as a group of people who share similar economic position in society, is another important category. Political parties often represent the interest of specific classes, like working class parties like communist and socialist parties appeal to labor, while business oriented parties tend to represent the interest of the wealthy and the middle class. Gender as a social group is increasingly recognized as politically significant. It is often said that a communist revolution could not be brought about in India despite huge working class and poverty and etc. Having all the factors for any communist revolution, but because of the caste solidarity, class solidarities could not emerge and could not be strengthened. Sociology also makes a fundamental contribution to political science, explaining political behavior, how and why individuals and groups act politically the way they do. Political behavior includes voting, joining political parties, participating in protest, expressing political opinions, and contacting elected representatives. Sociology helps explain these behaviors by focusing on social factors that shape them. Voting behavior is one of the most studied, areas in political sociology. The classical sociological approach to voting, associated with the Columbia School of Political Sociology, led by Paul. Voting behavior is the classical sociological approach to voting, associated with the Columbia School of Political Sociology, led by Paul Lazarus, held in the 1940s, showed that a voter's social characteristics, group membership, community ties, and social identity are the most powerful predictors of voting choices. People tend to vote like the group they belong to. This finding is particularly relevant in India, where caste and religion significantly influence voting decisions. The concept of political participation goes beyond voting. Sociology draws our attention to the fact that political participation is unequal across social groups. Those who are socially advantaged in terms of education, income, and social networks tend to participate more actively in politics. Those who are socially marginalized often participate less, not because they are disinterested, but because structural barriers prevent them. Another major contribution of sociology to political science is the concept of political socialization, the process by which individuals learn political values, benefits by which individuals learn political values, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. Political socialization explains how citizens come to identify with particular political parties, adopt specific ideological positions, and develop their understanding to civic rights and responsibilities. The family is the most important agent of political socialization. Research consistently shows that children tend to adopt the political preferences and party loyalties to their parents. In India, children raised in families with strong political affiliations, whether to the Indian National Congress, the Bharatiya Janata Party, or regional parties, often carry those loyalties into adulthood. Schools and educational institutions are the second major agent besides family. Though civic education, history textbooks, and the daily experience of institutional life, schools shape children's understanding of the state, the nation, citizenship, and democracy. The content of the school textbooks in India is itself a matter of political contestation, which shows how political socialization is tied to political power. Peer group, religious institutions, and the media are also important agents of political socialization. In contemporary India, social media has emerged as a powerful new agent, shaping the political opinions of young voters through information, misinformation, and emotional appeals. The relationship between political science and sociology is not one direction. While sociology contributes significantly to political science also makes important contributions to sociology. The first major contribution is providing framework for understanding power, authority, and governance. Power is one of the most fundamental concepts in both disciplines. Political science has developed sophisticated theories of power that are enormously used for sociology. Max Weber, a thinker who contributed to both disciplines, defined power as the ability of one actor to realize their will even against the resistance of others. Political science refines this understanding by distinguishing between different types and sources of power: military power, economic power, political power, and soft power. It also examines how power is distributed, concentrated, contested, and legitimized within societies. Sociologists use these political concepts to analyze government. To analyze, social relationships. When sociologists study how dominant caste in rural India control land, labor, and local government simultaneously, they are using the political concept of power to explain social phenomena. Similarly, when sociologists examine how gender inequality is maintained not just through social norms but through state laws and institutions, they draw on political sciences understanding of how governance structures reinforce social hierarchies. The second major contribution of political science to sociology is its systematic analysis of the role of the state in shaping society. The state is the central subject of political science. It is the organized political community with a government that holds sovereign authority over a defined territory. Political science asks, what does the state do? How does it do it? And what are the consequences of its actions? For sociology, this question is extremely important because the state plays a powerful role in shaping social conditions. State policies on education, health, employment, and social welfare directly determine life chances of individuals and groups. Laws made by the state define the boundaries of acceptable social behavior, protect certain social arrangements, and prohibit others. In the Indian context, the role of the state in shaping society is particularly visible. The Indian Constitution abolished untouchability under Article 17 and guaranteed equality before law and equality with equal protection by law under Article 14. These are state interventions that sought to transform centuries-old social practices through legal and political action. Similarly, reservations for other backward classes introduced following the Mandal Commission report of 1980 represented a massive state intervention aimed at changing social opportunities for a large sections of society or to alter the social dynamics. Among the key concepts that link political science and sociology, power holds the most central place. Power is both a political and a social concept. In political science, power refers to the capacity of state, government, and political actors to make binding decisions for society. In sociology, power refers to the ability of individuals or social groups to impose their will on others or to shape social arrangements in their favor. The French philosopher Michael Foucault, whose work bridges sociology and political science, argued that power is not just concentrated in the state but is diffused throughout society, present in hospitals, schools, prisons, and everyday social interactions. His concept of disciplinary power showed that social institutions exercise power over individuals by regulating their behaviors through norms, surveillance, and discipline. Authority is closely related to power, but it is distinct from it. Authority refers to power that is considered legitimate, that is, power which people accept as rightful and justifiable. Max Weber identified three ideal types of authority: traditional authority, which rests on customs and long-standing practices; legal rational authority, which rests on formally established rules and procedures; and charismatic authority, which rests on exceptional personal qualities of a leader. In India, we can observe all the three types of authority at work. Alongside power and society and authority, two other concepts form an important bridge between political science and sociology: legitimacy and social stratification. Understanding these concepts deepen our grasp of how political and social systems interact and reinforce each other. Legitimacy refers to the widely shared belief that a political system, government, or social arrangement is rightful and deserving of obedience. A government that lacks legitimacy may still exercise power through force, but it will face ongoing resistance from society. A government that possesses legitimacy is obeyed voluntarily by citizens who believe in its right to rule. Legitimacy is not only a political concept, it is also deeply social. The social acceptance of a political arrangement depends on the values, norms, and beliefs that prevail in society. Democratic government in modern societies draw their legitimacy from the principle of popular sovereignty, the idea that political authority resides in people or it comes from the people. In India, free and fair elections are the primary source of government legitimacy. Social stratification refers to the system by which a society ranks people and groups in a hierarchy based on factors such as wealth, caste, education, occupation, and gender. Sociology studies how stratification is maintained and reproduced across generations. Political science examines how stratification shapes political access, representation, and policy outcomes. India provides some of the richest and most compelling examples of the interdisciplinary relationship between political science and sociology, and the most prominent of there is the relationship between caste and politics. Caste is a uniquely Indian form of social stratification, a hierarchical system based on birth that historically determined a person's occupation, social status, and social relationship. Sociologists have extensively documented the structure of the caste system and its social effect. Scholars like Louis Dumont, in his seminal work Homo Hierarchies, published in 1966, analyzed the ideological basis of the caste system. M.N. Srinivas studied the practical working of caste in rural India. Both showed that caste is a powerful social force that shapes every dimension of Indian social life. Political scientists have shown how this social force translates into political behavior. Rajni Kothari, in his influential work Caste in Indian Politics, published in 1970, demonstrated the caste groups' functions as political interest groups in Indian democracy. Religion is another powerful social force in India that has profound effect on politics. Sociology treats religion as a major social institution, a system of beliefs, practices, and rituals that bind communities together and provides meaning to human life. Something related to ecclesiastical ideas or ideas related to supernatural, powers. Emile Durkheim, in his foundational work, The Elementary Forms of Religious Life, published in 1912, argued that religion performs crucial social function. It creates solidarity, reinforces shared values, and gives individuals a sense of belonging to something larger than themselves. levels. In the Indian political context, religion has been a significant force since the colonial period. The partition of India in 1947 along religious lines, along religious identity can shape political outcomes. In independent India, religious continues to influence political loyalties, party strategies, and government policies. The rise of nationalism as a political ideology represents one of the most significant intersection of religion and politics in contemporary India. Political scientists analyze nationalism as a political ideology and electoral traditional community and electoral strategy. Political scientists analyze nationalism both as a political ideology and electoral strategy. Sociologists examine the social conditions, urbanization, migration, the breakdown of traditional community structures, and competition for resources that makes communities receptive to religious political appeals. Voting behavior in India offers another excellent illustration of how sociology and political science must work together. When we ask why Indian voters make the choices they do, neither discipline alone can provide a complete answer. Together, they offer a rich and nuanced explanation. From a political science perspective, voting behavior is studied through the analysis of election results, party manifestos, government performance, and campaign strategies. Political scientists use statistical tools to analyze which parties won in which constituencies, by what margin, and among which demographic, groups. These quantitative analyses are essential for understanding election outcomes at a macro level. From a sociological, perspective, voting behavior is examined through the social identities and group loyalties of voters. Sociological research in India, including major studies by scholars like Yogendra Yadav and Center for the Study of Developing Societies, has consistently shown that caste, religion, class, and region are the primary determinants of voting choices in India. The concept of vote bank politics, where a political party reliably secures the votes of a particular social group, is fundamentally a sociological observation about how social group identity translates into political loyalty. The National Election Studies by the Lokniti program have documented how social forces or social factors consistently shape electoral choices across India's diverse democratic elections. Having explored the contribution of each discipline, now we can compare the two disciplines to understand their key differences. While political science and sociology are deeply connected, they have distinct focuses, methods, and concerns that make them separate and identifiable academic fields. The most fundamental difference lies in their primary focus. Sociology focuses on society as a whole, on social relationships, social groups, social institutions, cultures, and social change. Its subject matter is broad and encompasses all aspects of human social life. Political science, on the other hand, focuses specifically on state, government power, and political institutions. Its scope is narrower and more focused on the explicitly political dimensions of social life. Second difference is that sociology deals with phenomena like family, religion, education, inequality, and culture that extends well beyond, political sphere. Political science deals with phenomena like constitutions, elections, foreign policy, international relations, public administration that may seem disconnected from everyday social life. The third difference is that of methodology. Sociology relies more heavily on qualitative methods, ethnography, participants' observation, in-depth interview, and community studies. Political science, especially in its modern form, relies heavily on quantitative methods, survey data, statistical analysis, formal modeling, and comparative cross-national studies. The interdisciplinary relationship between political science and sociology, while enormously productive, has also important limitation. First limitation is the risk of disciplinary imperialism. When one discipline tries to explain everything through its own framework and ignores the insights of other. Some political scientists reduce all political behavior to rational individual choices without considering the social aspects. Conversely, some sociologists reduce political phenomena entirely to social behavior or social factors, ignoring the independent role of political institutions, leadership, and policy making. The second limitation is methodological incompatibility. Sociology and political science sometimes use very different methods and standards of evidence. Political scientists accustomed to large sample surveys data may find the small scale ethnographic studies of sociologists difficult to generalize from, and vice versa. The third limitation is the problem of reductionism, explaining complex political phenomena by reducing them to a single social cause. For example, explaining all electoral outcomes entirely through caste identity ignores the role of economic condition, government performance, campaign effectiveness, individual leadership qualities, etc. Well, in the modern world, the relationship between the two disciplines has become more important than ever as new forms of politics have emerged that cannot be understood using only one discipline. Identity politics is perhaps the most visible contemporary expression of interdisciplinary relationship between the two disciplines. Identity politics refers to political activity organized around shared social identities of caste, religion, gender, ethnicity, or language, rather than around broad ideological positions or class interest. Political science help us understand how these identities are translated into political demands, electoral strategies, and political policy outcomes. Together, they provide the most complete explanation of identity politics as a political phenomena. Social movements are another area of contemporary relevance. Social movements are collective actions by a large group of people aimed at bringing about social or political change. Public policy is a third area where the contemporary relevance of the relationship between the two disciplines exists. Public policy refers to the decisions made by governments to address social problems and achieve social goals. Effective public policy requires both political and sociological knowledge. Consider health policy. Designating an effective national health program requires political science to understand how decisions are made, how policies are implemented through bureaucratic structures, and how political interests shape by policy priorities. But it also requires sociology to understand the social determinants of health, how caste, class, gender, and geography affect access to healthcare and health outcomes in India. Same is with the education policy. So, neither discipline alone is sufficient to explain or address them. Now we have completed our lecture. Let us see the key takeaways from this lecture. We began by linking today's lecture to lecture 6, where we studied political science and history. Today, we extended the interdisciplinary approach to sociology, the scientific study of society, social relationships, social institutions, and social change. We established the fundamental insight that politics exist within society and that social structures like caste, class, gender, religion directly influence political system, political behavior, and political institutions. We then examine the contributions of each discipline to each other. The sociology contributes the understanding of social groups, voting behavior, and political socialization, while political science contributes to the framework of power, authority, and the role of the state in shaping social conditions. We studied key linking concepts of power, authority, legitimacy, and social stratification and explored their significance through Indian examples. The relationship between caste and politics, the role of religion in Indian elections, and the sociological study of voting behavior all demonstrated how deeply the two disciplines are intertwined. We compared the two disciplines, noting their differences in focus, scope, and method. Thank you.